Yeah, look at that, guys. Wow. Let's see, true test here. Oh my goodness. Hi, everybody. So today we are going to do a BIGA recipe. BIGA is an Italian pre-ferment. Instead of doing the usual Polish pre-ferment that I normally do, I want to try a BIGA for the first time. This is literally my first time ever trying it. I didn't practice before this video, so we're going to try it together. The BIGA is very simple, just like the Polish. It's just flour, yeast, and water. You can also put honey, but I'm going to try it actually without any honey. I'm going to use a recipe that I got from Vito's site, and I'm going to sort of do an overnight biga pizza that Tim from Kitchen and Craft does. And so I'm going to do a sort of a mixture of these two. We're going to need 300 milliliters of water, and we're going to measure out 600 grams of flour. All right. Perfect. So now we just need to measure out our yeast. And we're going to do 3 grams of yeast. First, we're going to put our flour in the bowl. Yep. All right. And now next, we're going to mix our dry yeast in. I'm just going to use the spatula. All right. Perfect. Now with the biga, before I start, so it's a dry pre-ferment, as I said. And we just want to kind of agitate the flour with the water. We're not going to mix it perfectly. It's going to end up being these little strands of flour. We're going to see it come together. All right, so I'm going to add in the water. I'll try and agitate this if I can. Let's see how this comes out. There we go. So I'm just going to gently just fold the flour over. I'm going to start to agitate it. So supposedly you'll know when this is done when there's no more loose flour. I'm just going to use my hand. I'm trying to do a combination of agitation and a little bit of stirring with the spatula. Oh, nice. Can you see that? Look at that. It's already coming together. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like. So I really don't know really what the difference is between the Polish, between using Polish and the Biga. That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to try it. I wanted to see if I can tell a difference in the final product. Now, another thing I'm gonna do, which I'm gonna follow from Tim's recipe rather than Vito, is that Vito cold ferments the biga. He puts the biga in the fridge, and Tim lets it ferment at room temperature overnight for 12 hours. I believe he says like 12 to 15 hours. I believe it is. All right, this is perfect. Wow, this really is pretty easy. I don't know what's easier, the making the biga or the Polish. I imagined that the Polish was going to be easier, but looks pretty much done. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. All the flour is used. Look at that, guys. Wow. All right, so what we're going to do is cover our biga, and we're going to leave it overnight on the counter. And then tomorrow, I'll see you guys, and we're going to make our pizza dough. All right, until then, welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to continue making our biga pizza dough recipe. The biga has been fermenting overnight at room temperature. A lot of times, Vito, in his recipes, he will cold ferment his dough. So that's a difference right there. I'm going to go with Tim's recipe, and I left it out at room temperature for about 14 hours now. Another difference, Vito almost always adds olive oil to his recipes, and Tim doesn't add any olive oil to this recipe, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to add any olive oil to the dough. And I just did a little bit of research, and there's conflicting information on olive oil and pizza dough. Some people actually say can make the dough more dense and moist and soft, but most people say that it does add a light crispiness to the dough. It helps resist moisture. So like when you're putting your pizza sauce and toppings on the pizza, it helps keep the dough crispy. And then also, most people believe that if you're going to make your pizza indoors in your home oven, that some olive oil in the recipe does help lower temperatures cooking for longer, and it keeps your pizza crust more crispy. Let's take a look at our biga. So it's been fermenting overnight. There we go. So this recipe here, now I'm going to keep a 70% hydration rate. So I'm going to add 200 milliliters of water, and 115 grams of flour, and that's gonna give us our 70%. I'm always like questioning how much sea salt I should be using, because sometimes I change how much flour I use when I'm following other people's recipes. So I decided after doing some research, I'm just going to stick with the 3% baker's amount. So most bakers, when they're making bread and dough, they just go by a 3%, 2.5 to 3% of your flour. And that's how they decide how much salt they're going to use. It depends on how much humidity and the temperature. So it's summertime here. So I'm going to go with 3%, and that's going to come out to 22 grams. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dissolve it in our 200 milliliters of water. It definitely increased in size, but the big difference between I can see between the Biga and the Polish is that Polish like almost doubles in size, and it you can see all the air bubbles that from the yeast fermenting that it produced. This one a little bit less. I can see some air bubbles here. To add our salt water. So now we just need to measure out 115 grams of flour. Okay, now we're just going to add this directly. Now we just need to mix this all together. I'm going to use the method that Tim does in his video, and he does like a pinch method. All right, so I can feel the biga is very dry, and I can feel how it's mixing together with the water now and the additional flour. So you can feel it getting softer and mixing together. And this is also an advantage of mixing dough with your hand versus using a mixer. A mixer is very convenient, and I really do like using it, but you don't really get to feel how your dough is doing. One other thing that the olive oil is good for, which Vito points out, is that when you're making your dough ball, like if the dough is too sticky, it does help with finishing the dough ball. So right away, I can tell one of the differences between Polish and Biga is I'm still feeling the strands of the biga in my fingertips. So that means what that's telling me is that it's not mixing perfectly 100%, and it's going to take a little bit more effort to mix it 100%. Whereas when you have Polish, it mixes very readily. As soon as you melt the Polish with water, so you add your water into the Polish, um, it mixes very easily. And even if you add flour, like when we do it in a mixer, even if you add flour to the Polish, it mixes very easily, very thoroughly. You know, what I might like to use in the future, stick with the Polish or make the Biga. Right now, I'm leaning to Team Polish. Okay, so I can feel that the strands, the pieces of the Biga are almost completely integrated now. But it did take a little bit more effort to do that. And so at this point, I'm definitely going to be very confident that the dough is well mixed. And so what we want to do is just let it rest for about 15, 20 minutes at room temperature. Hey everyone, we're back. So it's been 20 minutes. Okay, so we go. It's what it looks like right now. Not smooth yet because we still have to make our dough ball. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little flour down. You don't want to put too much flour because it will change, right, the composition of our dough recipe. Place our dough on the counter. So now what we want to do is we want to work the dough. And I'm just gonna, I've done this in other videos. I'm gonna fold. I can feel the pieces of the biga dissipating more as we eat. It's still very sticky. So because it's very sticky, we are going to let it rest for about another 20 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put down a little flour. It doesn't get completely stuck to the counter. All right, so let's cover it up and we'll be back in about 15 minutes. All right, see See you then. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Let's see how our dough is doing. Okay, so now I'm just gonna add, since we're not using olive oil, not really used to that, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour because I know it's gonna be a little sticky. And let's see if we can finish our dough. I'm just gonna pull it up. There we go. All right, it's still a little sticky. All right, starting to get nice and smooth. Still a little too sticky, but it's gonna get a little bit better. All right, there we go, guys. All right. So it's important that you flip and fold and watch how I pull my hands out at the end. There we go. Okay. It's still a little bit sticky. When it rests, it's gonna get much less sticky. All right. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it in our bowl. We're gonna let it rest there for about 2 to 3 hours. All right, I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour. Hey everyone, we're back. So we're gonna finish up our overnight BIGA recipe. Now let's take a look. It's been resting at room temperature for about 3 hours now. It almost doubled up in size. We're gonna just put it on the counter and make our dough balls for our pizza. Here's my hand here. Now we're gonna cut it in half again. All right, there we go, just 250. So now, remember this is the bottom, so now we got the top here. We're gonna roll it underneath and make the dough ball. You can obviously tell which is the top and bottom. You can see how this is not smooth, the one that's been fermenting on the bottom, and the top is nice and smooth. So we're just gonna roll the dough. It's really soft, guys, really, really soft. This pizza is gonna come out well, I think. Okay, so we're gonna make our little dough ball, right? We're gonna pinch the bottom. Gonna let that proof for about an hour at room temperature. If I'm not ready to cook the pizza yet in an hour, no problem. I'll just put the tray in the fridge just to let it cool down for a little bit so it doesn't overproof. And then we're gonna cook our pizzas. All right, see you then. Time to make our BIGA pizza. All right, the oven's up to temp. I think we're about over 700 now. So let's make our BIGA pizza. Let's put our semolina flour down. Perfect. All right, flip a couple times. All right, yeah, there's nice puffy crust here. Remove the sauce so you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, let's move this out of the way. So let's use our push and pull method to stretch the dough. Some of our sauce here. All right, we'll do a margarita pie here as our test pie. Oh, let's put some basil underneath. A little olive oil. There we go. Now we got to feed our oven here. Let's set our timer. All right, still looking good, so no worries. All right, guys, so here we go. My first BIGA pie. The crust is puffing up very nicely. A little char there, but I don't mind a little char. Not too bad. All right. Ready to come out? Yeah, look at that, guys. Wow. Wow, looks not too bad underneath. Wow, it looks really good. All right, let's let it cool for like 10 seconds, then we're gonna do the taste test. All right, look at this, guys. Wow. Looks pretty good. Look at that, a nice char on the bottom. Let's see, true test here. Oh my goodness, so nice. Beautiful. All right, let's let it cool for about 10 seconds or 15 seconds, then we're gonna do the taste test. Okay guys, so here is our BIGA pie. We tested out the soft and crunchiness outside. Let's see, it still goes. Oh, beautiful, people. Beautiful. All right, I got this new pizza cutter here, and we are going to cut ourselves our pizza and do a nice taste test. Oh, that's not bad. That is not bad. It's a good cutter. You know what? As much as I say that I burn the pie, I seem to always like the char, because I always go for that side first. Let's check out, oh, look at that crust, guys. Look at that. That is a nice crust. That's pretty good. Very puffy right there. All right. Really tasty, delicious. Just as good as any Polish pie that I think I've made. Delicious crust. I think I'm gonna do a video coming up. I'm gonna test making a BIGA version and then a Polish version. Let's see if there's any difference. Right now I can't tell. It's just delicious. All right, until next time. Bye guys.